All right, we're talking about the use, conclusion, wrap up, whatever you want to call it, of the 14 days of S30V. So, like I usually do, I will cover the use, when I stropped it, any notes I took during that time, and just generally how it did for me. So, this is what it looks like right now. Yes, it is really humid here today. It's been raining for about 2.5 days straight, so you can definitely see it on everything. So 14 days with the S30V Freak. This is what I cut in 14 days. Some of this is general categories like plastic packaging. That covers blister packs, plastic bags, hard plastic, flexible plastic, shrink wrap, anything like that is considered plastic packaging, just to keep it easy. So for the 14 days, I broke down 19 small boxes, 18 medium boxes, and 29 large boxes. By breaking down boxes, that is cutting all four corners, so you have 4 flat pieces of cardboard to throw into the recycle dumpster. Total feet of cardboard cut, 389. 87 zip ties, 34 of the foil and plastic combination packages, 43 different kinds of plastic packaging, and 31 pallet straps. I did strap this the first time on day 4, and on day 4 I could already start to notice the back section, probably this much or so, was starting to feel a little ragged on paper even after I stropped it. For those of you that don't know, usually the way I use a knife, the back portion back here does the majority of my cardboard cutting, while the front does my plastic cutting or pretty much any other cutting that I have to do. When I'm breaking down boxes, it could be any part of the edge that I actually use. So day 4 I stropped it. I could already tell that it was catching a little bit toward the back right there. I stropped it again on day 7, day 11, and day 13. On day 11, as time went on, I could tell that the back here was losing its edge. But I also have a spot up here in the belly portion where I cut the majority of the zip ties, and it seems to hit a lot of the plastic and pallet straps. There is one little hang up right there also. And I'm going to pause this real quick and grab a chunk of cardboard and some paper to show you how the edge is currently. So this is after 14 days of use. I did not touch this up at all. I just stropped it using 16, 3, and 1 micron. You can tell back here in the back. And right there. Right about there on the edge leading into the belly is where that spot is. Now, is this dull? It still cuts okay. I am going to do a separate video about how many different people, I guess you would say, would classify what is sharp. And I learned a lot of that from people that I work with and know that they only own 1 or 2 knives and they aren't necessarily into them. They just use it as a tool. I can tell you their definition of sharp is totally different than people who are really into knives and sharpening. Like I showed in the beginning, other than some spots on the apex that are reflecting light, I don't have any chips. As I said in the edge retention video, once you get past that fatigued or overheated steel down by the edge, you have a solid piece of steel to work with. And I believe I've mentioned it before, I am guilty of breaking down boxes on the edge of the recycling dumpster. It's a perfect rest to put them on and cut. I really paid attention to not do that this time, so that I didn't end up with anything like, let me see if I can show it. This was the D2 that I did. I don't know if it's going to show up. Yeah, that section right in there that's reflecting all that light. There is one really good spot right about there where my fingernail is that took a hit on the dumpster. And it's kind of a combination of a chip with some rolled portions. But that was going through a full cut on a box and running into the side of the dumpster. S30V, not bad. Any of you that have not put a few edges on yours, take the time to put 3 or 4 edges on it. Carry it and give it a chance. I see the steel talked about poorly all the time, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. The funny thing is, a lot of the M390 people talk so good about 20CV. In testing, cuts the same amount as a lot of well-done S30V does. Go figure that one's great, the other's not, but they cut the same amount in repetitive testing. So that was 14 days of S30V. Normally, yes, this would have been beyond my scope of what I still consider sharp. But what I am going to do is I am going to leave this alone, and I will come back to it with this same exact edge on it. And I'm going to do some things with it for a video to see just how much longer it actually goes before it is completely dull, as in it's not going to cut paper, cardboard, or anything like that. So I'll keep that to the side. And that leads into the 14 days of VG10. This is what I am using. My choices were the Endura or a Kaiser in VG10 that I've had for a long time. I don't dislike that knife. The way the scales are milled along with the pocket clip on that one, it tears up your pants and it's not the easiest thing to get in and out of pocket. So I went ahead and went with this one. See how long I make it on this edge right here before I actually have to touch it up, sharpen it, whatever. I don't know if this is going to make it 14 days on one edge. I know in testing it'll cut a fair amount. It's it's open right now. If I do have to sharpen it, you guys will know. And I am going to do, every so many days, I'm going to shoot a short clip to put together as one video for the multi-day carries from now on. And what else I have coming up is I'm also going to do, for the Extreme Budget Series or the Budget Series, some cheap sharpening stones. How well do they work? How long do they last? This is supposed to be a 400, 1000 combination diamond stone. From all the other diamond plates I have, to me, this feels more like 800 to 1000 grit, and this 1000 side is much finer than, I believe the only thing I have that is finer than this is the, I can't remember if they call it ultra fine or extra fine Edge Pro stone, and it is a very, very fine diamond. This also is well beyond a 1500 grit DMT, KME, or most other 1500 grit diamond stones. It is extremely smooth. So I'm glad that I went with the 400, 1000 and not the 600, 1200. My guess is that would be even finer than this is. So that wraps up the S30V. I will be bringing this back, like I said, doing something else with it. Thank you to everybody who participated and did it along with me on Instagram. I know there's a lot more people now doing the VG10. Glad to see that. That's awesome. Love getting everybody's input on how these different steels treat them for 2 weeks worth of use. Any questions, comments, dislike, complaints, whatever, drop them down below. I like reading all of them. That's all I have. As always, I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.